Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new, which let's be honest, you probably are, here I'm uploading daily vlogs of my current journey to my second bodybuilding show. I'm a little bit behind on the vlog series. I'm posting my bulk when I'm already on my cut, so I'm a couple months behind, but I'm trying my best to catch up. So if you enjoy watching my vlogs, please subscribe, but I will be posting more content like this, where I do more edited YouTube style videos. The vlog series is just to document my journey. Today we're gonna be talking about my first bodybuilding show ever when I was 19 years old. I'm gonna get into all the details. I'm gonna tell you everything that happened. I'm gonna be 100% transparent. You can judge me if you want, but this is me speaking as a 25-year-old trying to pass on some experience that I've learned, especially with the younger generation and the climate of social media today, about how rampant steroid use is and how promoted it is and how open everyone is.
I took a SARM.
What 2 months have trended
Now
to
this is
you?
not quite a steroid. Probably
I have a major problem with other influences.
And I feel like scrolling through Instagram and YouTube, you see a lot of physiques, you see a lot of people, and it's a lot easier to get influenced today to hop on gear and do things. So this is just 100% me. All right, so let me take you back. When I was growing up, I was always the smallest and skinniest kid in my class and my family, and I was picked on a lot, not by my classmates, but my family mostly. Half Filipino and half white. So all my Filipino cousins, girls and guys, were all way bigger than me. They ate a lot more, and they all picked on me for how small I was. It was all just jokes, but I low-key was kind of sad about it. And in school, I didn't really get picked on, but I was always in the front, almost towards the middle of the class, which if you know anything about framing photos, the smallest kids always go at the front because they're not going to be blocking anyone, and they go towards the middle, so it makes everything nice and symmetrical. My dad is like 5'8". I think he likes to say 5'9". I think he's around 5'8", and my mom is like 5'5", 5'4". So pretty short family, but one thing growing up I remember vividly is always seeing my dad do bodybuilding. I saw him drink protein shakes, and I saw him always drinking booster juice. I honestly thought booster juice was not good for you because my parents would never let me drink it whenever you had it, and they said, oh, it's not for kids. So I didn't understand. I thought you had to be 18 years old to get booster juice, which is kind of funny. But yeah, my dad was always training, and we even had our own whole gym set up in the basement, which I never used. Growing up, I wasn't into the gym at all. I never weight trained, I never did anything for my whole childhood up until I was about 14 years old. Until then, I was just playing basketball strictly. I have 2 older siblings, and they were both basketball players. My oldest being a prodigy in my family and one of the best players in his high school, and me and my other brother have always been compared to him by our dad. So growing up, basketball was super competitive, and we were always trying to catch up to my brother. Then once I reached junior high, I think it's middle school in US, I'm not sure, but here we call it junior high, which is grades 7 to 9. But once I reached grade 9, my dad started taking me to the gym with him and my other brother. So he wanted me to put on some more muscle mass because in basketball, I was literally just getting pushed around. I was super tiny and super frail. I was like a toothpick walking around on the court. I could just get bodied by anyone. So grade 9 summer is when I started training with my dad and my brother. And I remember walking into the gym and I felt very comfortable because I was with my dad, who was, you know, fucking jacked compared to me and everyone else in the gym. And my dad was a social butterfly, so he loved talking to people. He made, like, everyone at the gym knew him. Whenever we walked around the mall, everyone would come up and say, oh, hey, what's up, Mel? And we'd always be talking to people. But that also invited people to try to talk to me. And I'm an introvert and scared of social interaction, so it fucking terrified me when adults came talking to me and they were all beefy and jacked. But most of them are pretty nice, except for one. A guy looked up to me and I was wearing shorts and he was like, do you even work out legs? You have chicken legs. And that shit fucking cut deep. I was like, damn. I worked out legs with my dad twice a week. I tried my best. I was doing everything I could, but my legs were not growing. That's just something that I've had in a weak point. And later on, knowing that it's because my muscle insertions are really high. So a grown adult saying that to a little kid, it just like stuck with me. And I've always been insecure about my calves since then. I enjoyed going to the gym with my dad. We spent time, we were training almost every single day. So my dad is an old school bodybuilder type where he does super high volume like Arnold and all of them. His style was 5 sets of 25, 20, 15, 12, and 10 reps in that order. So you slowly decrease the amount of reps and increase the weight as you go through your sets. But again, super high volume. And that is 4 sets per muscle group per session. And his training split was chest and tris, back and bis, legs, chest and tris, back and bis, legs. Day 7 rest? No, that's shoulders. For example, on the chest and tris day, we did 5 working sets of chest and 5 working sets on triceps. And that's 4 workouts. So that's already 20 sets per muscle group per day every week. So really, really, really high volume. And I was doing that training style from 14 all the way through high school, so until I was 16. And then around like, I want to say 15 years old, I hit a growth spurt and I got to almost 6 feet. And then after high school, I finally got basically to 6 feet. I think I'm like 5'11 3/4. I don't want to just say 6 feet because so many people clown you if you're like just half an inch or a quarter of an inch smaller. So I think I'm 5'11 3/4. I'm not 100% sure. Subtle brag. Yes, I had to say that. I like to say that just because I grew up short my whole life and bullied for it. So I feel like it's God's way of laughing at all the people that made fun of me growing up, because now I'm taller than literally every single one in my family. But yeah, so I was doing that training style for the longest time, but I never dieted. I never cared about what I ate. I was in high school. I was training for basketball. So it was like, yeah, I'm adding muscle, but I was mainly focused on basketball. So the training was just an add-on and I didn't really care until I reached about like grade 12, my final year of high school. I quit basketball because I was like, fuck this coach. I don't want to play for him. So I quit basketball and focused more on training. And then after I graduated high school, I was still pretty consistent. I loved going to the gym. It was something I loved doing and I worked out, but saw basically no growth at all. Because 1, I wasn't dieting, and 2, I feel like the training volume was not optimal for my body type. So I had just turned 19 and I realized I was getting skinny fat, and it really, really bothered me because I had been not built, but like kind of lean for my whole high school years, my whole childhood, I guess. Once I got skinny fat, I decided I needed to change my life and start taking the gym seriously again. And me and my best friend started going to the gym every single day together. Again, I had taken a break. I haven't been training with my dad for a couple months. So we got into it and we were really motivating each other. We were really doing well and making a lot of progress. Pretty decent, but nowhere near ready for a bodybuilding show. As I was training my friend, I started watching documentaries like Pumping Iron. And then I started watching Dorian Yates, Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler, and a bunch of the bodybuilders. And then Kai Green was the main one for me that I just watched the bodybuilder and I really liked his personality and everything he was saying. But more like a binging series on YouTube. When you find that new YouTube channel, you binge all the videos and then you're done with it. I was kind of going through that phase, except I was in the middle of my binge. And I remember the exact day, for some reason, I wanted to show my dad my physique that I have built on my own. So I was like, hey, let's train together. So we trained again. I mentioned that I think I wanted to do a bodybuilding show later on. Not now, I was nowhere near ready. My dad was like, okay, we're gonna sign you up right now. He signed me up on a list and put me on a show. I had to pay a registration fee and a fee for the show, which was I think like $300 or something, which is back then I was living alone with my best friend Renz. So I was paying rent and all my bills on basically minimum wage. So $300 was a lot of money to me. So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna be committed. I'm not gonna stop. I might as well just see it through. So my dad became my coach for this bodybuilding show. He gave me a diet plan and a training plan. Basically, the diet plan was the basic shit like oatmeal, chicken, rice, and broccoli, fish and rice, or tuna and rice, and chicken and rice, all that kind of shit. Just all the healthy, low fat options that you could have. But again, I've never dieted before. This was my first diet and I had no clue what to do. So I was just following his advice blindly. It was like, my dad is my dad. He's been in this sport for 20 years. He knows what he's talking about. I'm just gonna trust him blindly. Not doing any research. I did his training style, everything. So my 4-month prep began. I was really enjoying the journey. I was so fucking dedicated to bodybuilding. I'm telling you, I did not cheat a single time. It even became an eating disorder that I would do in front of my friends. I'd be craving sweets and chocolate and candy. So what I would do is I would buy them, put them in my mouth, chew them, and then spit them out and rinse my mouth out with water so I didn't swallow a single thing. So not even a little bit of the calories went down. My logic was, I'm gonna get the satisfaction of tasting something good, but why swallow it? It has no nutritional value for me. It's just gonna make things worse, but I still wanna taste it. And that is what I exactly did. I was only eating healthy food. I never cheated one single time. Like when I tell you one single time, not one single time. I even remember one specific instance. My whole family was going camping. My mom and dad aren't together, so he had his family. My mom came, my brothers came, like a big family event for a long weekend. And of course, what are you gonna do with food? They were all eating like sausage, eggs, a bunch of other foods that I couldn't eat. So what did I do? I literally prepped my meals for the whole weekend in a cooler, and I brought them, and I had to eat chicken, rice, broccoli, ground beef, ground turkey, everything cold. Like there's no microwave when you're camping. I just ate that shit cold for all 3 days. Even when we went camping, I was training, I was doing pull-ups on the playground and trying to my best to just do body weight stuff so I could at least get some training in. And we were all sitting around the campfire and they were all having s'mores and they were all just eating them, right? And this is what really fucking hurt me. My dad was, who was my coach, remember? They were all eating s'mores and they were like, oh, just eat one. And I was like, no, I can't. I'm doing a bodybuilding show. I have to be committed. And I have been committed. I'm not gonna cheat. I'm literally gonna step on stage in front of people. I don't wanna look like shit. I don't wanna embarrass myself. Even though it's an amateur show and even though it's my first time, I wanted to do my best. And my dad even offered me a s'more. And then I told him, I can't eat it, I can't have it. And he got mad at me. He said, it's just one s'more, it's fine. And I remember feeling like hurt by it. And I know it may not seem like a big deal to you, but he was my dad and my coach. And it was just like the way and the demeanor that he had when he told me, just have it. Like, it's just one thing. You don't need to act like that. I thought he was gonna be proud of my dedication and my resolve. I took this morning and just threw it on the ground behind a tree because I was like so fucking pissed. I was like, fuck this shit. I am pissed about this, but I'm not gonna give up, right? And that was like a moment that stuck with me. Another example of how dedicated I was to this is I was trying to fit my meals in because although I was on a cut, I've never eaten that amount of volume of food because when you're eating clean, you have to eat a lot more volume versus when you're eating unhealthy food. And basically all I ate before was like pizza and shit. So I was getting a lot of calories from low volume foods. So when I transitioned to it, it was really hard for me just to fit in the amount of food that I had to eat. Again, I was just not that big. I was pretty skinny. I think I was about like, I don't want to say 175 pounds when I began, maybe 180. And that's like 6 feet tall. But like one thing I did to try to get my meals in was during my training sessions, I would bring a meal with me to eat while I was working out so that I could fit it in because I noticed I was hungry while I was working out. So I was like, okay, now I can get a meal in and then I can fit them all in. So shit like that was just, all of that was just how dedicated I was to it. And like the results were showing, but they would not have been there without something. And that shit is steroids. Now, yes, I started taking gear. I have taken gear before this. I was taking Anavar throughout high school. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not trying to put anybody down or say anything. So I'm not gonna say who influenced me or what. Because at the end of the day, although I realize now that I'm a 25-year-old with mostly developed a brain, I didn't realize at the time how stupid I was. I didn't realize I was just a fucking kid and I shouldn't have been doing that shit. But at the time I was like, at high school, big ego, I know everything, it's fine, whatever, fuck it, it's just Anavar, it's nothing big. So I was on Anavar and I'm telling you how fucking stupid I was. I didn't even take it consistently. There was times where I would take one pill for like one day and then I missed the next 3 days, then I would take a pill and my cycles weren't even real fucking cycles. They were just like pills here and there. It was really stupid and really bad. And when I was 19, I started taking injections, like real shit, like testosterone and whatever else. I don't know what the fuck I took. I trusted. I just did what I was told. I was trusting the source and the information. So I was just taking it. I don't even know what was in me, but I was like feeling great. I didn't really notice a difference actively because I didn't think about it, but my strength was going up. I just didn't think about that. And I was like, fuck it, this is what I want to do for my life. I was like, I wanted to be an influencer at 19 years old before like fitness influencers really blew up over the last couple of years. I was like, I want to make YouTube content out of this. And what stopped me was my physique. I was like, I need to wait until I get that nice physique. I need to wait until I get that, and then I'm going to start making content. And I was like, I want to be a bodybuilder. I want to do these things. And I thought, okay, if I want all these things, I want to go pro, then it's okay. That was my mentality when I was 19. So I took the gear. So I was on the cycle for the whole prep, 4 months. Anyways, that is a small portion. I'll get back into the effects of all of that later on, but prep was going good, really fucking good. I was really committed, like I said. And then the biggest bombshell of my whole life happened. I'll paint the picture. I was sitting in my apartment. My roommate was at work, so I was home alone. I have a girlfriend who I'm still with today. She was also at work. She didn't have a car at the time, so I was gonna pick her up later on in the day and we were gonna chill. But it was morning time. They were both at work. I was like, it's the weekend. I'm not working. I'm relaxing. I remember I was like, this is gonna be a good day. The sun was out. I was on my couch. I turned on the TV and I was like, I'm gonna watch a classic movie. So I turned on The Predator with Arnold.
You one ugly motherfucker.
And I was like, this is gonna be a good fucking movie. I had a bowl of cereal in my hand, or I had a bowl of oatmeal in my hand. I was like, I'm gonna enjoy this. I'm gonna eat my meal. This is gonna be a great day. And then my girlfriend calls me and she said, I'm pregnant. Straight up, I was like, no fucking way. There's no way you're pregnant. Like, you're lying. She was on the pill. And then I was like, how do you know? She's like, I took a test and it came out positive. Time literally felt like it froze. I was just like, what the fuck is happening? So I was like, okay. Just tell them at work, you think you're pregnant, you can't work today. I'm gonna come pick you up right now. So I drove 20 minutes to her. We went to a store, picked up another pregnancy test. She took that shit right in front of me and we waited fucking, it felt like forever, but like 2 minutes for the test to come through. And sure enough, it was positive. My whole life was like flipped upside down. I was like, holy fuck, I'm gonna have a kid at 19 years old. Like, this can't be real. And I didn't want to tell anyone. She didn't want to tell anyone. We were both so scared. We didn't know what to do. So we just kind of kept it to ourselves for like a week to while we figured out shit. And then we didn't know if we were gonna keep the child or not, because again, we're 19. We don't even know what we're doing with our lives. I'm working minimum wage, less than minimum wage job. She's working a minimum wage job. Like, we don't know what the fuck we're doing. We were still deciding whether or not we were gonna keep it. And I was like, you know what? I don't give a fuck about the show. And like, I tried to explain how dedicated I was to show how much it meant to me in those moments and all of that. But I was ready to drop it all right then and there, because this was like heartbreaking to me. Like, it was such a huge decision of our lives that I felt like it was so much pressure and weight on my shoulders. I remember I told my dad, I don't know if I want to include this, fuck. I remember I told my dad we didn't know if we were going to keep the child. And he said it, and he was like telling me it's probably for the best and I shouldn't do it, blah, blah, blah. I'm still young. It's going to be hard. And I felt like he didn't understand, because I felt like the baby was already mine. I didn't think he would respond that. I don't know how. I didn't know how he was going to react, but I basically told him I didn't want to do the show because I didn't know if we were going to keep the kid, and it was too fucking hard for me. And I felt like the kid was already mine and I wanted to keep the kid, but it was such a hard decision. And he was basically like, don't worry about it, just do the show. It's probably for the best, basically. And I remember it hurt so fucking much. I was so angry at him. I don't want to like talk so much shit and put out so much personal information, so I'm not trying to get into like crazy detail. But I remember I was like, fuck the show. I had a list of every single piece of food I was gonna buy after the show was complete to cheat. It was like fucking 30 things on that list. Cheesecake, pizza, chips, pop, candy, ice cream, the whole fucking nine. You know what, that fucking day we went straight to Pizza Hut. We got a pizza, went home, bought a cheesecake, bought like half the shit on that list. And I was like, fuck this shit, I'm eating it. And I binged that day. I was just so fucking hurt. Like, that was like a huge fucking wrench in the whole thing. And as the weeks went on, we realized we were gonna keep our daughter, who is now born today, and I'm so thankful. And she's the most beautiful thing in my life besides Heidi. And I'm blessed that I have her, and I'm just fucking happy that I was able to make the right decision under that amount of pressure and stress. You gotta remember, When you're on gear, it changes how you think about situations. Not necessarily like it makes you think the exact opposite, like, oh yeah, I don't want the kid or some shit, but it could affect you like severely. And I was on a cut, so I was malnutritioned because it was, I think, 2 months into my cut. So at that point I was like super tired all the time, super stressed, and my body was just in a constant state of like stress and fatigue from going to the gym, doing cardio, doing so much shit, trying to lose body fat and get it down to a low percentage. So I was just thankful that in that moment I made the right decision. That aside, things went back on track. I started training, but now my relationship on my end was fractured with my dad, but he didn't know that. I just acted like everything was all right. So I started training with him again. I continued my prep all the way up until the show. Did not cheat any other time, not a single thing. Did the show. I placed first in my category, which was like a youth beginner category, juniors. I think it was juniors men physique. Again, I didn't have great legs, so I didn't do classic physique, or I don't even know if they had classic physique, but I didn't do open bodybuilding. I don't know the exact category, but I didn't do the one where you have to show your legs. I just wore border shorts because I didn't have legs. So yeah, I won my junior class. Not that great of an achievement because I was the only one in it. And then I did the open men's physique, which is all ages can join, no matter your experience, whatever. And I think I placed like 8th out of like 12 or 14 people, so not that great. At the end of the day, I was just happy that I completed the journey. It was like a whole thing about commitment and showing my dedication to the sport and everything. Now, after that, my daughter was born and I quit bodybuilding. I quit working out for like 6 months. I was like, fuck this, I'm done. I hopped off the gear and I didn't even do a PCT. It was just cold cut, not on anything, just fucking stopped taking gear. I was like, fuck this shit, I'm done. I got back into training here and there, but I never ever thought about bodybuilding for 4 years. I only started thinking about bodybuilding again over the last 1.5 years. And there's a reason for that. It was the fucking gear, and everything that I went through was such an emotional, traumatic situation in my life that it was just really fucking hard. I loved how I looked, but looking back, my family and my girlfriend even said I was treating everybody worse. They all compared me to someone in my life who I never want to be compared to. They all said I was acting like that. They all said I was like a douchebag and acting like an asshole, and I had a short temper, and my girlfriend was fucking pregnant during the time. So I thought I was being supportive. I like made sure she had snacks. I was 19. I was a kid. I didn't really know what to do, but I was trying to like be supportive. But as we grew up, we grew our relationship together. She was open with me and told me that I wasn't the best during that time. She didn't like how I acted and I didn't treat her well. And the craziest shit about it was I didn't even know I was doing any of that. Like I thought I was being like nice and who I was, because I know genuinely I'm a caring person. I'm a nice person. I will turn the other cheek. I would rather you make fun of me than me try to make fun of you, or, you know, I don't want to put people down. And I always actively try to do that. Or I always try to actively have that mentality, no matter what it is. Even if it's a bad person, I don't try to judge them. But hearing that from my family, and especially her, was like a wake-up call. Like, especially her opinion matters more than anybody in my family, anything. So once I heard that, I realized, holy fuck, the gear changed me, and I didn't even know. So the gear really fucked with me more than I thought it did, because I was acting like an asshole. And now looking back, as a 25-year-old who has a daughter, I feel like I have grown a lot of experience from being a father at such a young age, and my mentality and everything that I've been through. The main thing I learned in life is never say you know enough, and never act like you know more than anyone else. Don't think you know more than people younger than you. Don't think you know more than people older than you. Just fucking take in all the experience and try to form opinions based on that. Don't just neglect it or don't listen to them. Everything is valuable, because at 19 and that age, I thought, fuck, nobody can tell me anything. I know exactly what I want to do. I know exactly what I need to do. And I wish there was someone at my age who told me to take a step back and realize you don't know everything. you don't know a lot. You're gonna learn a lot more. And now I know right now how I think and how I operate is not my peak. I'm always gonna be doing that every year, and that's called growth. That's what it should be. You should always be growing. You should always want to learn more. The main reason why I'm making this video is for anyone who's in my position who wants to take gear at a young age. Because like I said at the start of the video, it's going rampant on social media. I see a lot of 16 through 20-year-olds blasting gear saying, this is what I want to do. I'm going to be a bodybuilder. This is like, I want to be an influencer and all that. I don't want to like say do this or don't do this, but I would say really reflect on your mentality. When you're 19, your mental cognitive awareness isn't fully developed. You're not fully aware of all the situations around you. You think you know more than you do. Just take a step back and realize this isn't everything. Like, why are you doing this? Do you need to be doing this right now? It's also the emotional maturity that you gain from aging and experience that I think will help develop your decision making a lot more. So I would really urge you guys, if you're thinking about taking gear at a young age, especially in high school, your hormones haven't even fully developed yet. You could be fucking with shit you don't even know. So if you're already on it, you could potentially be treating the people you care about most worse without even realizing, like me. There was a reason why I took such a long time off training and I just quit. It like fucked with me so much. It was such a hard burden, and it was just a really bad time. That was my experience bodybuilding at 19. I hope you guys can learn something from it. This wasn't meant to like say what you should or shouldn't do. It's more so just sharing my experience, and hopefully you can take something away from it. It was one of the hardest times of my life, but it was also a journey. And now I just want to pass on that knowledge, so hopefully it can prevent some of you guys from having to go through the same shit. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoy. If you did, again, I would love for a subscription, like, and follow. I'm going to be making more videos of this. If you guys have any suggestions about, I don't know, stuff you want to hear, maybe something you want to hear about me, just leave it in the comments. I may make a video out of it. But until then, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.